Yep. I thought it said Antichrist. I was like, okay.
That's a great name, Antichrist.
Right, ready whenever you are.
Cool. So I created the online publication called Anarchist. It's an underground online publication for kind of non-conformists in London. It's really London-based, so we're aiming at the youth, the kind of 18 to 25-year-olds in London. A little summary of what Anarchist is. It's an online inclusive publication built from fashion, art and culture for the non-conformists in society. It's really focusing on expression, independence, vitality. We really want to create a place for individuality to be expressed, which we find a lot in mainstream media is kind of avoided or not talked about, and if it is, it's a really kind of, it's glossed over and it's not undercovered and dug up in the way that Anarchist is going to be doing it. So we want to create a space that exhibits wild clothing and style, and we want to kind of avoid the trends, the gossip that potentially people like Vogue, Elle, all of those kind of publications, they tend to focus on. We want to be more of a side alley for the youth in London to really discover a bit more of a wider genre of clothing, art, culture, everything in between, and it's really focused for the millennial generation as well. There'll be things in there like artists, musicians, designers, all people that aren't normally displayed in those publications. We're going to be showing in Anarchist, and it's really a way to reveal more of what London's got to offer than what's being shown at the moment. Our core readers, they're 18 to 25, they're females, and they're definitely London-based. They have a lot of interests, including music, clothing, obviously, art, and they really like creativity. Creative outlets are a big part of their hobbies, their spare time, and they spend a lot of time being creative. Their lifestyle tends to be quite busy. Our readers are quite well educated, they come from a solid background, and they've got quite prosperous futures. We aim to meet those kind of people and reach those kind of consumers for us. They tend to be in either full-time education or in full-time casual work, and so they are looking for low to mid-disposable income price points that are a bit lower than what our competitors are offering, and the brands that they're partnering with tend to be more higher end, which I'll go on to speak about later. A lot of our consumers interact with big brands like Nike, Adidas, Fila, Puma, but they also interact with second-hand stores and the kind of more individual, independent brands like Religion, Racket Priest and Free People. What we want to do at Anarchist is avoid the bigger brands like Nike, Adidas, Fila, and go more into the kind of independent stores that London has to offer. There are ones such as Rocket and Attica, which we want to partner with, work with them, because we want to kind of create less of a focus on the big brands and more of a focus on independent stores that have individual clothing, something that you're not going to see the average Joe walking past in the street wearing every day. And that's kind of who our readers are, and they're looking for something that offers a lower price point, individuality, independence, and kind of a unique aspect of London clothing and style. Like I said, achievable price points, alternative and individual clothing, and they are educated, informative, and they like to be educated. So that's what a lot of our content will be. It will be very educational, and it's very informative, and it's what we want to do really. So a little consumer profile here. We've got Cameron Manson, 23 years old, she's a student in London. She really represents the main demographic that we're aiming for. She likes gigs, she likes individual musicians, she goes to a lot of underground bars, clubs, and a lot of her clothing comes from second-hand stores or kind of independent stores that she finds in the back alleys of London or other cities that she may visit. A lot of vintage clothing, a lot of chunky jewellery tends to be her style. The social platforms that she engages with most are Instagram and Twitter, so those are the kind of ones that we'll be focusing on to help promote the brand. We'll kind of be using Instagram and Twitter as a platform to collaborate with other people, like-minded bloggers, things that we could use to help connect with and engage with our consumers. A lot of the brands that she interacts with are Urban Outfitters, Converse, the bigger ones, which we would kind of avoid using in our promotional tactics because, again, we want to be more representative of the smaller brands in London. But then she also uses ASOS Marketplace, Depop, and second-hand clothing stores. That's really kind of the way that we want to go through it is, again, Depop, ASOS Marketplace, where you get those individual styles. The second consumer profile, Lily Tennant, she is a student in Cardiff, but she is from London. She likes festivals, and the things that she interacts with are PAQ, Neighbour, and Kyra. They kind of create video content on YouTube, online, and they may be seen as our competitor because they have a lot of the same audience for us, but we do go down a different route with them. A lot of the social platforms that she interacts with, Instagram, Facebook, Depop again, and her brands include Dickies, Fila, Adidas, again Depop, Underground and Buffalo. So these are kind of Underground, Buffalo, kind of up and coming brands. So potentially we could work with them now, but then in the future, the more kind of traction that they gain in the public eye, we may want to stay clear and start going down and finding more brands that we can help bring up into the mainstream media. So we're going to reach and engage with them through Instagram. A lot of the time we want to promote and collaborate with other bloggers that are like-minded and use them to help kind of reach our target audience. Also collaborating with brands such as PAQ, Rocket and Attica, the clothing stores in London. Sponsoring them possibly for pop-up stores and festivals. That could be a good idea because, as I said before, one of our consumer profiles, she really enjoys festivals. So kind of getting ourselves into the public eye through sponsoring brands and working with them could be a good way to reach our target audience. We want to add individuality to publications, so that will be a selling point for us, is the fact that our interviews are less formal and more of a conversation. They create conversation with our audience, which is really what we want to do. We want to create a community. We want to make it like a really inclusive space for everyone. And it's going to be a really kind of friendly, up close and personal site for people to visit. And it's going to make the readers feel like they are part of it and they're becoming part of the Anarchist brand rather than just a reader of the Anarchist brand. And also the last point on here is we're going to reach and engage them through a series of club nights. So what we want to do as the brand is take it, even though it's an online publication, we want to take it offline and create that kind of omni-channel, multiple touch point aspect of it. And that is our main USP, is the fact that we're not only going to be online, but we're going to kind of create a safe space for our readers to interact with each other offline. So the idea is a series of club nights as a possibility where we just create a night pop-up across London, underground bar or club, and it really creates a community of like-minded individuals where they can interact and learn from each other, create conversation. And it's a really good way to kind of interact with the youth of London these days, because even though they interact a lot online, the offline interaction that they want is still there, it's still necessary, and so we want to make sure that we're kind of getting that point across, which a lot of other online publications don't do and a lot of our competition don't do. So that really is our most unique selling point. So our content is split into three things. We have our features, interviews and events. Our features are very empowering, educational, written pieces. They've got multi-dimensional content and they're all different aspects, covering different topics, everything that our readers may want to read about, from kind of political topics, fashion, art, culture. It really is kind of like an uncovering of what London's got to offer. We also feature a lot of video content, which is provided by Cara TV. We want to partner with them because obviously they have a lot of the same audience base as we do, whereas we provide a written aspect to our audience, they provide the video content, and we want to make sure that we're getting across all touch points that we could possibly do. So Cara TV partnering with them is a good way to do that. Then we have our interviews, which is just a range of up-close and personal friendly conversations with people in the industry that we want to represent and we want to portray to our audience. We want to be able to create a connection between the subject and the reader and kind of minimise the feeling of detachment for the reader. We want them to feel like they're part of the conversation, not just reading the conversation. And that's the important part for us with the interviews. And then the events is our kind of offline 360. That's our really USP point, is the fact that we are creating a physical aspect for our audience. We will feature on the events that are potentially hosted by us, sponsored by us, or simply liked by the Anarchist brand. We'll be doing a range of things from the pop-up shops that are going on to club nights in London, to potential festivals that are going on. And we're really creating that omni-channel approach to publication through this event part of our content. So the brands that we work with to do all of this stuff, we've got our kind of individual London-based brands like Attica and Rocket, which provide second-hand clothing, and they have their own clothing brand as well. So a lot of those stores, a lot of our consumers will be visiting and they'll be very aware of. So partnering with them will be a really good way to reach our target audience. Then you've got the bigger clothing brands like Illustrated People and the Ragged Priest. You see them in bigger stores like Topshop, yet they're still not overly mainstream, and they're not still overly represented in mainstream media, so they're good people to work with if we want to become on a bigger scale. If we want the Anarchist brand to really step up and reach more people, these are good brands for us to work with because they are in line with our values and they're in line with our style and our morals and what we really want to be getting across to our consumers. Then we have our non-fashion based brands like Kyra, who produce Neighbour and PAQ. And they, even though they're not a retail brand, but they reach the audience that we want to be reaching with. And rather than seeing them as competition, we want to see them as complementing our content with their content. And working together to create a really multidimensional content creation for our audience, whereas they're doing the video content, we'll be doing the readable, digestible, written content. So like I said, we're up against them technically, but we want them to complement our content. We want them to help us work together and really kind of create that added step, that added dimension to what our audience want. We've also got competition in personal bloggers, people that are individuals who have become kind of Instagram influencers, you could say, like Megan Ellaby, Alexa Chung, Sophia Rosemary. They offer kind of a platform for alternative and retro fashion and styles. A lot of people do look at them for inspiration, and a lot of our audience will look to them for inspiration. But what we have on these people is the fact that they create more of a fan base, whereas we're creating more of a community. We don't want our consumers to be looking up to anyone. We want them to all be equal, included, and all part of a conversation, which potentially these individual bloggers might not be. Then our direct competition, the people that we consider our largest competition, Dazed, Hunger and ID, they're the most similar to us. They have similar content and similar audience, but how we set ourselves apart from them is the fact that we have a community, we're creating an immersive experience, and Anarchist is really all about our consumers at the heart of it, individuality at the heart of it, and Dazed, Hunger and ID potentially a bit too focused on the bigger brands, the bigger aspects, and not necessarily specialised and niche in what we're going to be doing at Anarchist. As you can see here, when you go onto their sites individually, they partner with brands such as Celine, Prada, and then an alcoholic brand, like a high-end alcoholic brand. And so this isn't really at the price point that Anarchist is looking for, so Anarchist is going to be offering a more alternative price point for our consumers, because again, like I said, they're in education, they're in casual work, so they're not going to be looking to be shopping at Prada or Celine. They're going to be looking at lower price points, individual brands where they can afford clothing. And so that's how we are a bit more different to our competition as well, is because of the brands that we partner with won't be as high-end, won't be as luxury-based, but they'll still be a really good quality clothing company, and we'll make sure of that through all of our partnerships. So like I said, what makes it different is we give a really 360-degree view of the underground London scene. We don't want it just to be online, we want it to become offline, incorporate the online element with the offline interactive elements to make it a really immersive experience for our consumer. It's not just a publication, it is a community, and that's the most important thing at Anarchist really. It's a physical and virtual thing for us. It's not just reading a site online, a blog, it is becoming part of it and attending events with other people where you can create conversation. And that's what our consumers are looking for, and that's what's missing from the market at the moment. So no other London-based publication has this multidimensional aspect, and to be honest, Anarchist is the only one that's going to be creating that, and it's the first of its kind, and I think that Anarchist will be really reaching a new audience with this aspect, and that's the most interesting thing for us. I think that's the end. Yeah, so that is the Anarchist brand.
Oh,
I don't know how long
that's
that
how
was.
much. We've got 1 minute left.
Out of 15 or 10?
Yeah, out of 15.
Really?
Yeah.